Raw Review Mini is brought to you by the WWE actually giving us a Raw that is interesting. One day after Extreme Rules, we look at this Raw, and in actuality, it's a good Raw. Better than the others that I've seen for the last couple of months. And I'm not saying Raw is perfect, but at least I will say on this show, it was better. So I got two things to talk about. First one is about The Miz. Having his celebration. Having Dean Ambrose kicked out of the place because he was going to cause trouble. Seeing that the Bear was brought in and got his ass kicked. Seeing that the Clock was brought in and getting its ass kicked. Then you see The Miz having to beg for forgiveness to Maurice. And in the end, The Miz gets his ass kicked by Dean Ambrose as the cameraman. What do we got here, ladies and gentlemen? Do we actually have something special? Honestly, yes, but the problem is there's no consequence. Look, the problem I see here is not about Maurice. It's not about The Miz. It is Dean Ambrose. The problem I see with Dean Ambrose, there's no consequence to him. He just acts any way he wants. And there's the problem. Because he's acting any way he wants, because of his character, he's sloppy at it. He doesn't give us something special because he's supposed to act totally and completely random. But he's not acting random. He's acting totally and completely boring. And that's sad. Dean Ambrose, when he first started, and I still say he was rushed. I don't care what anyone says that he was perfectly fine. No. The guy was rushed. He should be getting a title now. He should never got the IC title or the US title years ago. He should never got the WWE heavyweight title last year. He should get a title beginning around now. He should have been built more properly and kept up. But the WWE didn't do that. So I still believe that he was not built properly because they didn't keep an eye on him. And then when he starts really becoming really interesting, and I still say he wasn't really ready for it, he's now become highly complacent. So the person that's really carrying this is The Miz and Maurice. And that's saying a lot from Maurice, who's not even wrestling. So in the end, I'm still glad to see The Miz have the title. He's the best, and I've already made a video on him in my debate of the week. The Miz is the best heel they've had in more than a decade. But he needs someone to work with. And Dean Ambrose is not the right person to be working with. It's very dull. But I'm still glad to see it and what's interesting. The second thing and the last thing I'm going to talk about is Samoa Joe. Tell him this. I saw Raw Talk after Extreme Rules. I did get a chance to find a site that had it. And I did watch it. And he cut one hell of a good promo. So how they followed it up, I'm shocked that they did this in near the end of the show. The middle to the end. But it was understandable why. It had to be something special. That's the reason why Bray Wyatt jobbed his ass off to Roman Reigns. I'm just saying. He jobbed his ass. He whored his ass off for Roman Reigns to win. But when you see Samoa Joe dealing with a Paul Heyman, Paulie put him over clean. He made it really special. I mean, Paul Heyman's always done pretty good promos. Sometimes he does spectacular promos. And a few times he does stinkers. This was not one of them. He did a great promo. And in the end, he allowed... And this is the thing I loved about that segment when it came to the Coquina Clutch. That rear naked choke put on Paul Heyman. He got put into a corner after the talk. Joe told him, look, you're going to pay a little price for being here and your client is not. I'm going to knock you out by choking you out. And you're going to tell him what it feels like. You're going to tell him what it tastes like. You're going to tell him how horrible it is so he'll understand what he's going to get. show him his future, and he puts him into that lock. He pulls him to the floor, and he knocks him out. That was beautiful. But guess what? The WWE, in their great and wonderful wisdom, let him have a match with Seth Rollins that was too freaking competitive. Look, you're getting Brock Lesnar, an opponent that could be the most credible one you could see in the last 3 or 4 years. John Cena was never really a credible threat because he was never built for submission. Randy Orton was never really a threat because he was never built for submission. And the Triple H, the God himself, was never built for submission matches. The only person that could have been a true viable threat was Daniel Bryan. And I know a lot of people say, what, Daniel Bryan? Yes, because he has been built for submission because of what he did. Finn Balor's not built for submission. But Samoa Joe is built and sponsored as a no-nonsense, smash-mouth submission specialist. And the problem here wasn't that he didn't put the submission on him and knocked him out. It was that he had to struggle before he even got a chance to do it. And then Bray Wyatt does his scene of the flashing of his... Why did you do Bray Wyatt? Why? Why did you do Bray Wyatt? This took away from Samoa Joe. Yes, you're trying to do something with Seth Rollins so you won't worry about him dealing with Samoa Joe before he meets Brock Lesnar. But the problem is you should have done this beforehand. When he was in the hallway, then he could have been talking to a Bray Wyatt or Bray Wyatt saw him in the background, and then he does this. He doesn't do it at all. He just talks about it, then later it gets... No! It ruined Samoa Joe. This messed him up. He had to actually have someone job like that really messed him up. And I hated it. But what he did with Paul Heyman was beautiful. And even though this was terrible and really, I do believe, messed him up, he could still be built all right. If, and this is the most important thing, next week, when Brock Lesnar comes, he cannot destroy Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe has to surprise him. Because if he does not surprise him, then this just went along with it and it makes no sense and we know Joe is going to lose. I want to know that Joe could have a chance to win. So next week he cannot bitch to Brock Lesnar. If he does, it's stupid. It's just stupid. But it's just my point of view, and I hope you enjoyed this little, well, Raw review mini for June 5th. Please give me a comment below and watch for my SmackDown review tomorrow. I can't wait to see what I'm going to do with Shinsuke Nakamura. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace.